Hey everyone, this is Chef, and in this video, we're going to talk about everything you need to know to play Power Reaper for the first time in a World vs. World group. That includes basic profession mechanics, build options, synergies, rotations, and skill combos, and your role in an organized squad. Each of these sections is timestamped, so if you'd like to skip around the video to the parts that you want to see, go right ahead. Historically, Necromancer has had some of the best access to boon removal abilities in World vs. World, and Reaper is no exception. Your damage will usually not be competitive with a pure damage profession like a Hollowsmith or a Berserker. Instead, your role is to enable these professions to deal improved damage while still contributing a spike of your own. Playing Reaper effectively relies on careful cooldown management and the use of a number of different skill combos to maximize your impact in your squad, and while the profession is relatively easy to learn, it also has a high skill ceiling. Reaper's unique profession mechanic, Reaper's Shroud, replaces your weapon skills with a set of 5 new abilities. Your life force slowly depletes while you're in Shroud, and when it runs out, your Shroud ends. But unlike base Necromancer and Harbinger, while a Reaper is in Shroud, your life force also becomes your health, with incoming damage depleting your life force instead. This is a double-edged sword, as the additional health makes it easier to survive, but being knocked out of Shroud earlier hurts your damage overall, and careful positioning is necessary to take full advantage of the profession. To start, I'm going to show you an example fight from me playing Reaper, and then we'll pick apart and discuss each element of the build and how it contributes to that rotation in the rest of the video.
While spawn 3, 2, 1, while spawn on tag, just nuke my tag, just click my tag, just cleave it, just cleave it all the way through, convert the downs, convert downs, convert downs, convert downs. We range forward on this, range forward on this, range forward on this. We push hard left in 3, 2, 1, pushing hard left, we're just killing the single, just killing the single. Rezzing on me, rezzing on me, rezzing on me, we push the tail in 3, 2, 1, spike the tail right now, spike the tail, nulls on this, nulls the push, 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 cleave tag, cleave tag, cleave tag, cleave tag, cleave tag, my banner, cleave the downs, cleave the downs, cleave the downs, cleave the downs. We're pushing forward in 3, 2, 1, just range back forward, we're slowly pushing on the left side, let's go. Kill this shit. I'm killing this shit. Alright, we're converting our tail. With Zerg's back up, we're killing all these. Arc Fighters go.
Starting with our gear, we'll be using the Marauder prefix. Vitality is useful in general for World vs. World, as it pads your health and gives you extra survivability, but for Reaper in particular, Vitality also contributes to your maximum life force, giving additional damage and survivability that you can draw from while you're in Shroud. For our weapons, we'll be using Axe Focus and Greatsword. Axe 3 and Focus 5 are your main sources of boon removal in the weapon, with Focus 5 also being a core part of your single target spike damage along with Axe 2. In Greatsword, your auto attack, Greatsword 2, and Greatsword 3 are all for cleaving and melee, while Greatsword 4 is one of the best boon corruption skills left in the game, and Greatsword 5 is one of the best pulls in the game, across any profession. On each weapon, we use a Sigil of Nullification and a Sigil of Energy, to emphasize our role as a boon removal profession. On our armor, we use Runes of the Deadeye, as the precision from the full 6-piece bonus is almost exactly the amount that we need to reach critical hit cap, well under the effect of Fury. And finally, for our relic, we use Relic of Fireworks. Greatsword 4, Greatsword 5, Focus 5, Shroud 4, and Shroud 5, which count as weapon skills, all have cooldowns of 20 seconds or greater, and Reaper has no issues maintaining high fireworks uptime overall as you use each of these skills. In our utilities, we'll take Your Soul is Mine, Nothing Can Save You, Well of Corruption, Well of Suffering, and Lich Form. Your Soul is Mine is a large heal, as well as a source of life force, and you'll want to prioritize using it in melee, where it can hit several targets. Nothing Can Save You is, in my opinion, one of the 5 or 10 most powerful skills in World vs. World. It's an unblockable AoE that removes 2 boons from each target it hits, up to 5 targets. But it also makes your next attacks unblockable, so you can chain it into other boon removal skills, like Axe 3, or into unblockable single target spike damage using Focus 5, Axe 2, or your Lich Form auto attacks. Or you can make your Greatsword 5 pull unblockable, letting it skip past Aegis to pull defenders off of walls or behind gates. Well of Suffering and Well of Corruption are a package deal. You almost always want to cast these 2 skills at the same time and in the same place. Corruption pulses boon removal, while Suffering pulses damage and vulnerability, softening up an enemy for your squad's pure damage professions to spike even harder. Finally, your elite utility skill Lich Form transforms you into a Lich for up to 20 seconds. Your auto attacks in Lich form do excellent damage and pierce, with the drawback being that they're projectiles and can be destroyed, or worse, reflected back onto your own squad. But of course, you can use Nothing Can Save You to make these auto attacks unblockable, turning them into a reliable single target spike damage source. While you're in Lich form, your 3 skill is also a Fear, and your 5 skill increases your own health and heals you, while reducing the maximum health of enemy players who are struck by it. So you always want to put these 2 skills on cooldown before your Lich form ends. For traits, we take Spite 1-1-3, Soul Reaping 3-1-2, and Reaper 2-1-3. All of Spite's minor traits are relatively weak, but our major traits synergize well with our weapon and profession choice overall. Spiteful Talisman improves strike damage against foes without boons, and recharges axe and focus skills faster, letting us remove those boons more often. Chill of Death automatically casts Lesser Spinal Shivers when striking a foe below 50% health, which is an additional source of boon removal. And Spiteful Spirit strikes and removes boons from enemies around us when we enter Shroud. Reaper is able to enter Shroud every 10 seconds at a minimum, and you'll want to take advantage of Spiteful Spirit triggers to maximize your overall boon removal ability. In Soul Reaping, our minor traits improve our Shroud profession mechanic, increasing life force gained with Gluttony, maximum life force with Soul Battery, and Shroud skill recharge time with Sinister Shroud. Reaper's biggest weakness as a profession is its poor access to personal stun breaks and condition clears. So in our major traits, we take Speed of Shadows, letting us clear Immobilize, Cripple, and Chill if necessary to stay alive. Soul Barbs improves our damage for 10 seconds whenever we enter or exit Shroud, and since we already want to do this for Spiteful Spirit, this usually ends up being a flat 10% damage increase. With Death Perception, we make up the last amount of critical hit chance we need to reach our cap, and also improve our critical strike damage while we're in Shroud. Once you're comfortable on Reaper, or if you have reliable supports, you can use Unyielding Blast as a major trait instead of Speed of Shadows, as your Shroud auto attacks are a good source of damage, and you already want to actively use them. Finally, for our Reaper trait line, our minor trait Cold Shoulder gives additional strike damage when striking chilled foes. We can generate chill with our major trait Chilling Nova, which spreads chill on critical hit with a 10-second cooldown, as well as with the final step of our Greatsword auto attack chain, our Greatsword 5, and Shroud 5. Soul Eater improves our damage when striking foes in melee, and leeches a small amount of health for damage dealt. And our Reaper's Onslaught trait improves our ferocity while in Shroud, as well as provides personal quickness. Reaper's Onslaught also reduces the cooldown of all of our Shroud skills when we successfully strike with the last attack in the Shroud auto attack chain, Life Reap. This incentivizes you to use your auto attacks in Shroud frequently to get your other skills off cooldown more often. Reaper's rotations and skill combos involve a mix of long cooldown, high impact skills that are usually saved for Commander's Call, and short cooldown combos consisting of 2 or 3 individual skills that are up to you to use proactively. Well of Suffering and Well of Corruption will almost always be on a Commander's Call, and since they remove an enemy's boons and stack vulnerability, it's also when you'll want to deploy your own spike damage. Start with Corruption, then follow up with Suffering immediately afterwards. Then, use Nothing Can Save You, generating unblockable strikes. You'll always get at least 10 unblockable strikes, up to a maximum of 15 if you also strike 5 targets with Nothing Can Save You. Use Axe 3 and Focus 5 before you enter Shroud to consume some of these charges and put these skills on cooldown, and then enter Shroud, consuming the rest of those strikes on your Spiteful Spirit trigger. Once in Shroud, give yourself personal stability with Shroud 3 if necessary, and use Shroud 4, followed by your Shroud auto attacks, to apply spike damage follow-up to your boon removal. If your group really needs damage in that moment, you'll want to camp your Shroud for as long as possible, maintaining your auto attacks and refreshing your Shroud 4 cooldown, and doing extra damage on critical hits. Otherwise, drop Shroud after your initial spike goes out, and move to using your personal skill combos while you wait for your wells to come back up. Your main boon removal skills are Axe 3, F1 to trigger Spiteful Spirit, Focus 5, Greatsword 4, and Nothing Can Save You. And you'll want to cast each of these skills on cooldown when possible to maximize the amount of boons that an enemy group has being removed at any given time. Because Nothing Can Save You makes follow-up attacks unblockable, you'll usually want to start each of these skill combos with that shout, following up with other AoE boon removal skills to ensure that they connect and successfully remove boons. Depending on how many people you hit with Nothing Can Save You, You can even chain 2 or 3 of these together. For example, Shout into Axe 3 into Spiteful Spirit, then using Shroud 4 and Shroud 1 auto attacks on enemies that have had all of their boons removed. But outside of boon removal skill combos, you have a number of other skills that you can use proactively as well. For good single target spike damage, anytime you cast Focus 5, follow up with Axe 2 on the same target. These are 2 large damage sources, and when cast back to back, are able to down enemy players who have taken a bit of damage previously. You can also couple your Greatsword 5 pull with either your boon removal skills to strip stability and then pull a defenseless enemy, or you can pull players who already don't have stability and follow up Greatsword 5 with your Greatsword 1, 2, and 3 skills, or your Shroud, to pull players off stack and down them. Greatsword 5 is also an excellent skill to use during your own group spike, as you can place your wells and then pull enemy players into your group's damage. Let's also talk about Lich form. Lich's damage output is extremely high and has excellent overall utility, but requires careful use to not kill your own squad members in the process. Since these are projectiles, they're easy for an enemy group to completely ignore with the use of projectile destruction or reflect fields. It's very important when you're using Lich that you generate as many unblockable strikes as you can before using it, and that you stop auto-attacking as soon as you see your projectiles being reflected. And, as mentioned previously, Lich Form 5 actively reduces the maximum health of enemy players when they're struck by it. So make sure that you're using that skill once your unblockable charges are gone to soften enemies up for the next spike damage call, and get a slightly larger shroud in the process. Reaper's playstyle favors players who like to chain skills into one another for maximum effect, as well as players who like a very active weapon swap rotation to take full advantage of the profession's abilities. Its access to some of the best boon removal abilities in the game ensure that it will continue to be a viable option for as long as there are boons to be removed from an enemy group. And I hope that this video will be a useful resource for you if you decide to learn the profession. If there's anything in this video that wasn't clear, or that you disagreed with, why not leave a comment to let me know? And if you want to see more videos like this, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I also stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes Monday, if you'd like to watch me play some of these builds in real time and ask questions there. But until then, I've been Chef, and enjoy the rest of your day.